The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back again. Thursday, the 12th of February, 7 o'clock or just shortly after. I hope everybody had an excellent day today. And let's start off with a disclaimer first of all. Just keeping in mind, this is general investment advice, not personal advice. So as the disclaimer stipulates, that's all I can give is just general investment advice, as I do not know your personal circumstance. I am authorised under Mortgage in General, and as you can see, it's FSL license number. Basically, this webinar consists of factual information regarding financial instruments such as foreign exchange, commodities, indices, and the share market. Explanation of analytical techniques and descriptions of trading strategies which have been used by successful investors and traders, but you need to decide how well this information fits your own particular financial circumstance and risk profile and objectives. As I do not know your financial circumstances, risk profile, or objectives, so I recommend that you consult a licensed investment advisor. Okay, now we'll switch over to the screen. We'll start off with the Dow Jones, or like I usually do on each time before I start. I'll do the S&P, then I'll do gold, oil, and of course the XJO, and I'll do some currencies also, and of course some shares. I've also been asked to do the health index, the healthcare index. So I'll do that too today. So I'll just give me 1 second. I'll just switch over. Okay. Now, let's start off with the monthly as I usually do. I'll just enlarge it first. Now, as we can see with the Dow Jones, it has really broken above all major resistance points, and I'm referring to going from peak to peak, going back from 1999, touching the 2007 top, and going right across, and as we can see, it actually has broken above that, which makes it extremely difficult. If it maintains it above there for, maybe another month or two, it can consolidate and go sideways for a number of months actually. So we need to be very cautious. Now, in saying that also, we can see that this is still in a rising wedge, and it is inside this rising wedge. However, it's getting more tighter and tighter inside this wedge. If this thing stays up here for a few months and it really looks close to the end of the rising wedge, it could be 3 to 6 months actually, then we have to rethink, is this going to end up in a rising wedge or something else? So we really got to watch it very carefully. But it still is inside the rising wedge, and for it really to continually to come down, if it comes down, it's got to come below this red line on the top here, which is your major resistance point. If it closes below and over the coming month, different story. Remember, this last candle that we're looking at, the green candle, it's still the last, that's February, and of course we're only not even halfway through February, so anything can happen again. So we really need to be very careful here. We can see this trend line touching a number of points, and it is currently inside that trend line. So we'll have to see how it's going to close again in February. Is it going to stay out between the blue and the red line here, which is between, then becomes resistance and support? So we really got to watch it closely. So I guess what I'm saying is any trade that we're really looking at the Dow, it's got to have to be fairly short term. That's what we're really saying here. Let's have a look at the weekly. Now, just switching over. Now, as we can see with the weekly, basically we can see with the actual trend line that actually broke, we can see this is the best possible trend that we can have on the weekly, and we can see again there's a lot of resistance up here. Okay, so this can technically go sideways for a little while at least anyway. So what it's saying, as we saw from the monthly, that there is a lot of resistance up there, And again, looking at the weekly, we can also see a lot of resistance here. There really isn't much more that we can do with it. That's the unfortunate thing here. Going to the daily, this is the lines that we left a couple of weeks ago, and we originally saw that it broke below that. It did an about face and came back, literally broke back inside and actually broke the other way. Now, the only way we can treat this is very simple, is really taking this line here and flipping it like so. And basically what we have now instead is a descending triangle that broke to the upside. Now if we can just extend this little line a bit more downwards. And that's how it looks like. What we do have at the moment is, let's have a look at the edge. And let's clone that, see if it fits. Oops, just re-grab it again, didn't quite put it there. As we can see, there is 3 candles inside that we need as a minimum, and basically what this is telling us, it is a basically flag. It has broken on the upside, it has broken above the descending triangle. Now normally descending triangles represent down moves, however this has broken on the upside. So if it was to fail going up, again it would fail at this top because this is the highest price thus far, and that means if it is to fail, it would fail up here. As you can see, as it was down below here. It failed there. That's the potential failure rates. Because we are so close to the top of resistance, it is possible. But let's do some targets in case it goes through also. As a descending triangle, all we do is to go to the bottom, we go to the top, we go to the breaking point, and tells us, I'll put auto size on, tells us there's the next target up, and it has broken up. Again, as a flag, I would go to the bodies as a more conservative target and breaking through the flag, and again it is in a similar target. So if we were to break it down and go to intraday data from this, we'd be looking at a target first of around 18,095, and if it does manage to go through that, then we'll start looking at these targets, which is then we're talking about another 300 points or so to go up, 300 plus points. So that's how I would be treating it. And of course now, because it has broken on the upside, these become redundant. Okay, and that's the Dow Jones. Now, I'll go and do now the INX, which is the S&P 500. Oh, my apologies, did a mistake. It's .INX. Okay, let's have a look at the monthly. Now, again, as we can see here, we are literally on a large rising wedge. It's valid, it's within its parameters, and any trades that we do, we're only going to trade to the brick wall as a conservative. I wouldn't be looking any higher than that. So any trades, we will look only to the brick wall. Let's break it down to weekly. Again, what we can see, touching all the points, starting at the bottom, we can see where the first point is, 1, next point 2, just here, 3 at the top here, again 4 now, and it bounced off its support line, showing higher prices. So, obviously if you get something near the bottom of the support line, any price projection on the upside, it's a fairly safe bet that basically we got an up move, as we did I think last week. Going to the daily chart, this is what we drew last 2 weeks ago, and we said if it breaks on the downside, that was the target. If it breaks to the upside from here, that is the target. Now, what else have we got? It has broken to the upside. We also have, like we did on the Dow Jones, let me just clone it, a bullish flag and a target out of the flag. I'll go to the more conservative bodies and its breakout, and we got a similar target. Now the original target that we did here, it's from the bottom here to the top there to its breakout just there and that's its target. I'll just remove that one there. That's how we did it last week, or last fortnight ago. Okay, oops, wrong one. I delete it. Oh, come on. Oh, what's it doing? I must have another one here. Okay, I'll just redraw that. Now the good thing about this is you can see it's broken through, it retested it, and it's going up, which gives us more credibility basically. And just crop it up. So that's basically the target for the S&P 500. Now next we'll do the XAU gold. Just switching over. Okay, back to gold again. Again, as we said last time, we are in a decision zone. Is this going to break up or is it going to break down? Remember, initially we got this broadening formation, tops, bottoms, and what we can see, it's broken down, went up to retest it. This is a trend line that was going downwards, went through the trend line, hit the major resistance of the broadening formation, and really is stuck there at the moment. As we said also 2 weeks ago, the issue that we got here is this is a potential mare's tail also. If it breaks to the downside, we're going to have an acceleration down. Again, if it breaks to the upside, that's the up target. We don't know which way it is. We're not here to predict per se. We're here to follow the statistical analysis, the methods that we use in statistical analysis. And the highest probability is the only time when it breaks one way or the other, then we can be confident or extra confident that potentially this has got that target, the upper target or the lower target. Again, we trade what we see, not what we think. That's the monthly. Breaking it down to the weekly. So what we're looking at, as we can see here, we had a little trend going inside this section here. This is a descending triangle, sorry, not descending, a falling wedge, and what we saw is it broke the falling wedge on the upside. It looks like it's coming in to retest it, and if it retests it and shoots up, then we potentially say we've got higher prices to go. Or it might come back inside, which basically comes back down as we saw in the broadening formation. So we really got to wait and see what actually happens next. We go to the daily. And again, it is back inside this trend line. And let's have a look, a closer look. Originally what we've done is we basically put the support line down here, and as we can see, it is right on the support line. We just cloned this line and put it almost at the highest point, and we had potential second touch there, and that's what we did. But let's have a closer examination here. Let's test a little theory out. Let's go to the top, let's go to the bottom, and let's see if we get anything also like that. So you need to be quite mindful in all this, so let's have a look. So again, instead of now a parallel, what we see here is a broadening formation. Oh, behold. So we have a broadening formation on the actual daily at the moment, and it is it's very valid. You got one touch, two touch, three touch, now on its fourth touch, and we really got to see. In fact, we were paying closer attention last time, which unfortunately I didn't at the time. We could have seen this. I've just noticed it now. Basically, a flag. Now, again, we should then do our targets from the top. It'll tell us it's going to go lower, of course, but that was the support line, so you only trade it to the support line. Again, if this kicks up or consolidates, we start looking at the additional, if there is, you're looking at intraday data or see what else transpires here. This is a daily chart, so you watch it for the next 3 or 4 days, you might get another pattern forming here, and then we can determine where do we go. If you're looking for a new trade, you really need to see a new pattern. If it breaks down to the downside, then obviously it'll go through the bottom trend line and we can start targeting again. However, if it bounces on the upside, we need to see what pattern's going to form, especially if you're only using daily data, and see where it can go from there, what projections we can do from there. And that's pretty much it on the gold. Excuse me. We'll do oil next. Now, I'm using BRT because basically that's in our time zone. If you're using Texas crude, which is the WTI, that's pretty much more for, if you're looking at the northern hemisphere, this is more for the southern hemisphere. What we can see, just looking at the monthly, first of all, we can see it actually has broken below. We had potentially lower targets. We can see that it's gone through the first lot of targets there, and there's nothing more that it can tell us really on the monthly. We're trying to look at it a bit closer. I'll just enlarge it 1 second. We can see that it's gone through basically the two targets. It came and retested up here, the previous high, and it's just sitting there now. On the monthly basis, this says it can go lower, but what we need to do is confirm it on a lower time frame. Going to a weekly. As we can see with the weekly, we can see there's gaps left along the way, and generally speaking, gaps tend to close. Now, there was a big gap there, and as we can see, it closed this. Now, but it also left a gap when it took off. Now, generally speaking, this technically should come back down here and close this gap also. So there really isn't that much information, because the reason I say that is that if we look at the daily data, unfortunately, we don't have an open high-low close on the daily. We only just get just the last sale. Even though it changes almost in real time, unfortunately it's always changing their last price, and that's something that Reuters has got the monopoly on the data, and that's the only way we can get it. So the best we can do, unfortunately, is use the weekly data. It's at its best possible way, and all I can say is I would be looking for lower prices on the looking at the weekly data. I would expect lower prices to come on oil. So we should get cheaper prices on the bows as long as the Aussie dollar doesn't fall much lower, if it stays around here. Okay, now these are the main ones that I normally do regardless. What I'll do now is go and do the XJO, the ASX 200. And where we are with that, as we can see, we're pretty much at the top end of the rising wedge. Now, if we can clean it up and make it a little bit nicer, I suppose. We can see it did try to penetrate it through, has come back below, so we really need to be a little bit more cautious now and see what actually happens. Mind you, if it does break and close above there, then we have to say we do have higher prices to come. So watch that there. We go to our weekly, and this is what we did 2 weeks ago. We said watch as the rising wedge go on the upside. I said that will be a major brick wall, so any upside would be the case. It had broken just above here when we're looking at it, and we said yes, this is a long price, but I would only trade it to this point, because remember the rising wedge on the weekly here, the smaller one, has broken down, and in fact this current price is higher than previous prices. But again, that's where it is. We had a target of between 57.65 and 58.40, and it has met those targets. It is within that range, and there's nothing else on the weekly that says it will go to a higher price. And in fact, what we can further do is extend this line. Now, let's extend it, and we can see that was its brick wall. Okay, so again, brick wall on the top, brick wall from underneath, which is again here, intersection. Now, is it going to break above that? I honestly don't know. All I do know is if I'm in a long position, maybe I should be looking to take some of my money off the table. That's what I could only say there at the moment. We'll go into the daily chart. Again, as you can see, the targets that we've done, it has met that target. Let's do some additional targets if it manages to break through there. Again, the target that we did there, let me just find out which one that is. That's there, so we'll do another one. So we can go from here to there to its breakout, and that's its next one up. And we can go from here to there, and it's even bigger. That's the next one up. That's assuming, of course, it breaks through that major resistance point. It's got to break beyond that resistance point, okay? That's the only time. I wouldn't myself take any risks. Now, I don't know what could happen here. Can this be a bullish flag? I don't know. Let's just have a look. Has there got at least potential? I'll just clone it. Well, potentially it can. There'll be one hell of a move up, of course, if that happens. You probably will be looking at the 6,000. But again, we really need to see a breakout. If you're not in this, it needs to break that brick wall, and then the real trade occurs. Now, I understand because that was an initial brick wall up here. That's if and you convert that to the weekly. That's where the top was. I would draw a line like so and say, if this was a flag, potentially, you know, it starts tomorrow or Monday or Tuesday and it breaks above this flag on the upside, I would go along, but keeping in mind, if it fails, it could fail right here. So the idea is to get in as early as possible if, and I use the word if, it is a bullish flag. However, if it is, it would be a pretty good trade. I would get in. If I see it failing there, take a small profit and go. If not, then I'll be looking to ride this up if it breaks through to high 6,000 odd points. It's around 6,008, 6,036. And that is the XJO. Okay, next. I'll do healthcare. That's XHJ. XHJ. Just get a drink of water here. Now, this is interesting. Monthly, first of all, here's your monthly. Now, we can see this has been in one heck of an uptrend, let's be realistic. Now, as a bull hook, for those that can't remember, it's almost the reverse of a mare's tail. And as the name is, it's a hook that is bullish. How do we target out of a bull hook? Basically, this is where it begins. So it goes to the bottom of that, to the highest point, to its breakout point, which is about there, and we actually are there anyway at that. But that's all the monthly tells us. On a bull hook, this hit its target. Now, we'll need to look at the weekly, because if we have a look at this is a parallel line. So all I've done is you've got one, you know, you can probably call it a second touch, but I'll call it almost like a half touch because it's so close together. Then we got this here. Technically, I could have moved this a bit higher, but it's better to keep it in balance because you can always alter it later. And I just cloned this and I just added to that. That's all I've done there. So potentially this can go higher. We can extend the line. There you go, just up there. And that's basically where it is. Now, let's have a look at the weekly. That I was just trying to represent the bull hook where it was supposed to be. We can draw a trend line here. And as you can see from this, I've got 1, 2, 3 touches. Let me clone this. And which is fantastic from that perspective. And in fact, I'm trying to do something different a little bit. Now, what I've done is I'm touching the top of that, but I'm going underneath that way back here. And this is basically called a sandwich. So this almost becomes its support there, and that is resisting, so it's sandwiching it in. So that's locking that in. That's where the best fit can be. If you really wanted to make it more conservative, what you can do is lower this, and don't worry about that, just bring it to the touches. So I can touch 1 into this, 2, and have more touches that way. Okay, so either way, they're both acceptable for now. What we're looking at obviously is the right-hand edge of the screen. Is there anything on the right-hand edge that tell us, can we get a higher price from where this is? Let's have a look here. Is there any flags or any other pattern for that matter? Well, let's have a look up here. Oops, I didn't do it quite right there. Let me just fix that up a little bit, like so. And I'll clone this. Not the best flag, I must say, but I can still wear it. Let's see what else I've got. This goes, if I do that, to the body. Now, I am cutting a little bit of the body here, but remember, it opened up here and closed higher, but it closed there. And then I'm getting, that way I'm getting more, and I'll just clean it up a little bit more to lower. Yeah, oops, sorry. About there. So the whole idea is I'm trying to get a trend line here so I can have 1, 2, 3, 4 touches, which is fairly solid. Now I can clean it up a little bit more actually, just about there. I'll clone this. And here we a bit lower. Okay, so we can see we're in a channel regardless. That flag that we just put here, like I said, it's not the best because you can see that's going to be below, but it's still acceptable. If I had to give it out of 10, I'll probably give it a 6.5, 7. However, let's do a target. The breakout point. Inside, so it keeps going up on a weekly basis and meets that. So what this is really saying, if you're in healthcare or look at some stocks that are in healthcare, saying it's got more upside, especially the index. Here, let's just have a look what makes up the index by looking at the index constituents in one of the watch lists, and you can see what stocks are making that. And if you can get this on the index, then go and see the stocks that make up the index and see if they resemble at least something of what we're looking at. Then you can turn around and say, well, they might be a good trade after all. Okay, so this is the weekly. Let's have a look at the daily. Let's do the last bit that we did down here. You can see we can't get away with this on a weekly, but anyway, let's see if we go on a daily up here. And that's where it came off. Let's see, we clone it if it does any good. Yeah, that's pretty good. 1, 2, 3 touches on the upside by cloning this. And basically what it's telling us, if it bounces above, that's what we really should get. There really isn't much on the daily that can say, can we work at an upsized target? I'm just trying to have a look here. The only thing potentially can be, let's have a look. Still not the best. From here. Now remember, we don't cut trend, but this is a pattern. We're not looking at this as a trend line like we've done here because we don't come back on trend. You can see these trend lines go down here, they go down lower, they don't come back this way to cut any trend. As a pattern, you can do this, okay? Now what we do have obviously here is a symmetrical triangle, a small symmetrical. So we can get a target out of that by going to the first point here, to the first touch, to its breakout point, and first target. We can go down here and we can do the bigger target. And that's its target on the upside. There really isn't anything else to get a higher target at this point. So all we can do is try to see, unless we can look at this on an intraday and find a pattern to say, yep, there is a higher price. But I can't see anything at this point that can give me a higher target than that. Not on the daily at least, okay? So that's all I can do for that one. Although, as we can see from the weekly, it shows higher prices to come, okay? So just got to have a look at it and see what we can do. Let's have a look. There's nothing else on that one again. No, there is nothing else on that one. Let's double check. Okay. I've been asked to do NCM again, Newcrest Mining. And again, as we can see, we had a head and shoulder back here, as we said on the monthly. Let me just enlarge it. As we can see, we had a head and shoulder, targets off basically potentially all the way up to $21.80 up here. It met its first target when we looked at it more than 2 weeks ago, or around 2 weeks ago. It was down here somewhere, just breaking out. It met its first target. It was just around the $10 mark. We're sitting at $12.50. That's not bad, is it? Basically, what have we got? 20-odd percent, 25%, $2.50. That's pretty good. There is more higher prices to come. So this is telling us there is higher prices to come. You can see we had a mare's tail here all the way down, and now we are in the reversal stage. On a weekly, let's have a look at that. And as the weekly demonstrates, there is higher prices to come again. And you can see there is a symmetrical triangle. I was looking at a monthly before, my apologies, and I said it was weekly. So on this weekly, as we can see it, higher prices to come. Hit the first target. There's nothing we can really do on the weekly, just reconfirm what you've done. Nice reversal pattern. You can see even here, if you want to look at it as a symmetrical triangle, or you can even see it as a shoulder, head, shoulder, breakout, neckline. You can look at it that way too. So this is a classical reversal pattern to the upside. On the daily, can we get higher prices? I think this is the one we were looking at. Again, look, this is the data how we analysed it 2 weeks ago, and this is what we said the first target was. It has projected into that target already, and potentially there's a second target higher up. We're not there yet, so this is projecting. If you're not in this at the moment, you really got to look for something to get in. If we're trying to analyse it again, not confirmed yet because this is today's data. If it goes in here again, then potentially this can create a pennant. Means you can go click down here, click to the top, and see where it breaks out for the up target. We don't know if it's going to break out, so we need to watch it tomorrow. If it closes in this section here, watch it really carefully on Monday, and if that breaks up on the Monday or Tuesday, then we've got an entry to continue to the upside. If it breaks on the downside, there's no pennant anymore. It's gone. That is NCM. You can't really do much more than that. The next one I was asked to do was WPL. I think we did that last week too, actually. WPL, let's have a look. WPL. Yep, I think we did that last week, didn't we? Again, with WPL, it broke a major, sorry, it didn't break a major. It was still in a consolidation phase, a huge sideward motion with Side Petroleum. It really doesn't, the monthly just says consolidate in this tight range, which this tight range, of course, is between the bottom and the top here. You're talking about, what, $12 or more. Let's have a look on the weekly. And what we saw, we just took this downtrend, cloned it, and let's just extend these lines down here. It is in a downtrending channel. So the weekly is telling us it's in a descending channel. What we, I know one thing people can get confused there, and I'll show you something, why they can. Don't get confused with this. All right? People might decide to do this and clone it and say, look, isn't that a flag? Truth is, it's not, because you've got a huge tail down here and a huge wick on the upside. It is not a flag, because that would look good with a pole and you say, oh, possibly a fantastic trade. So it is not, okay? It is not. It might go lower, it might react to the same targets, but it's not. One thing you have to be careful if you're looking to short this, we are in this consolidation phase in here too. So you might find this might consolidate here, so you need to watch it very carefully if you're looking at a lower price. Okay, so you need to start looking maybe at daily or underneath that to see if there's a trade. So looking at the daily one now. What do we got here? It really is all over the place, isn't it? In fact, is that right? Just to claim that? Curious. No. Oh, yeah. That's horizontal, and that's just touching the body, tail to body. I'll just delete that one. And all I can see here, it's narrowing, okay? Narrowing, getting tighter. Usually when he narrows and gets tighter, it's getting for a decision of some form. What the decision is, of course, I have no idea. It's all I know is then is consolidation, and we'll see which way it goes. There really isn't much more than, you can't really do much on this. It's not something that I would look to invest in at the moment. I'd rather, there's no direction. It's more sidewards to down, and that's the best way to describe Woodside Petroleum, sidewards to down. I'll have a look at the Wesfarmers next, WS. And Wesfarmers, let's look at monthly. We haven't looked at this. This is for the first time, I think, since we started the webinars. As you can see from down here, this had a rising wedge that collapsed and followed through. What we did have since then you can't even draw an uptrend line on this one. No. So it actually did that. Broke through. Geez. All I can say is consolidation, and it's been doing it from the beginning of this to where we are. 23 months. 23 months. It's been going sideways for whatever reason for 23 months. Going to the weekly now. Actually, personally, that's where basically if you look at touches, you got 1, 2, and obviously did it here for the third time. If I was to look to this to the long side, I really want to see it close above here. If it doesn't go above there, I wouldn't consider going along with this at all whatsoever. If anything, anyone that did options on this, that's as writing options, they would have done quite well out of it, or they should have done quite well out of it. So the only way really to trade this, if you're looking at is to buy it now for some time down the future, you really want to see it close above 44.89. So you might as well say above $45. It really's got to close above that. If it doesn't close above that, I wouldn't consider it. I don't think the daily would give us any more than that anyway. Just a look here. With the daily, the last time it did give us a bit of a little pennant, and the target that he had was from the bottom of the pole to the top to its breakout, and didn't quite get there, but I did do a more aggressive target than a conservative. If I did it on a conservative basis, it probably would have just touched it. I'll do it in fact. There you go. Again, it's got a par, I reckon, above that $45 mark. And if it doesn't do that, really, if you're looking to go long, I don't know who, I can't remember who requested it, but if it doesn't go long, I really wouldn't do anything else. I'd leave it alone. There's nothing more. I mean, this is, again, like I said, this is what, 23 months sideways. I mean, geez, how long can you stay there? BHP. We did BHP. First target was met. This is monthly. Second target is to here. We can see consolidation. It's broken through a major pattern here. It's basically was symmetrical. Major trend lines busted. You had 1, 2, 3, 4, then a break. So I would, at the moment, look, is it going to make a bearish flag at the moment for a lower target? Possibly. I would look now for a pattern to see where, what lower prices can come. Remember, this is a monthly. Let's have a look at the weekly. What do we got here? And so, oops, wrong one, sorry. Let's see if it met any targets. I'll go conservative. I'll use the bodies. What we can see, it did meet its target. It did a retest. And is there lower prices to come? Let's have a look. Again, from here to here to its breakout point. And it's telling us we should see $24, $25 as a lower price. Now, what we are seeing, it's broken out of this pattern. We saw the retest and went lower. So if I was to look for a new entry point for a short here, for starters, I would want to see some more information on the right-hand side of the screen to tell us potentially, is this going to continue lower or is it just going to consolidate in one spot? Let's go and look at the daily, see if it tells us any more information. Where do we go here? Start from the top. It's curious here. We have a broadening formation, and it's broken on the upside. That's interesting too, in its own right. Now, again, on a daily, clone. Now remember, I'm going to do a target to the upside here, but what you have to look at, if this breaks to the upside, by the way, not saying it will, if it does, remember the brick wall where it is, and I'm only estimating now, okay? Now, that's saying if it breaks on the upside, we have a brick wall, a potential target to 34 to 35. On the weekly, we have a brick wall at what level? Where are you? Around 32.50 or so. So if you were to get a breakout from around $31 or just a bit over $31.30, you've got a brick wall around $1.50, just a bit of $1.50. So in other words, I'm not saying close your position here. It might decide to go higher, back to 34, but this is where it potentially can fail. So on the weekly, we're saying major brick wall. We have also on the weekly lower prices to come. However, what we do have also is on the daily showing us a potential higher. It's a conflict between the two. Which one's going to win? Is this flag going to win if it turns into a flag to the upside, or is this going to win? Personally, yes, I would go long here if this is a flag. and breaks as a flag, I would go long. But as it travels up this end, I would watch it and see if it's looking like it's going to fail. I would take that $1.50 or so profit and walk away, or $1, whatever it turns out to be at the time. And if it manages to break through, well, that's good too. So here we are, potentially a setup if that transpires to a setup. But at the same time, you've got to look at a brick wall here. If it fails, if it is to fail, that's where it's going to fail, at this level here. Okay. And in fact, if it fails there, let's have a look at this bit. Just thought about that to point out. If it fails there, look, this is where it is. 32.25, and we said around 32.50. Well, it might stick its head to 32.50 and come in on an intraday basis. So there it is. That means the flag can fail here. So just keep that in mind. Yes, I would take this trade. If anyone asks me, yes, I would take it. I've been asked also to do ANZ again. Someone might be in this one. Again, on the monthly, we saw this climbing, and I'll just extend the line. Okay, so it's climbing. Go to the weekly. We can see it broke out of this. Again, there was a broadening formation if you look at it from that perspective. And if you draw a line below this, we have a descending triangle, and these are the targets that we have on the upside. So we're still saying there is room for higher price to come. Then we go to a daily to see how we're going there. And as we can see, that was the first target as we broke through. And what we do have now, look, not quite as good as I could have done. If this breaks on the upside, this is another entry price you can go in, because basically we're saying another pennant if it breaks on the upside, only if it breaks on the upside. And it'll go from here. I will go to the bodies myself, and I'm only estimating now. And there's the up target. Now, keep in mind, if that's at $37, $38, if we look at the top here, is around the same price, around $38. That's 36 just there on the red, but the top of the blue could be as high as around 37, 38. So that's your real brick wall is here. Okay, that's your real brick wall on the weekly, or the monthly for that matter. So up the top here is around 38, as you can see. I don't think anyone can see the right hand on the screen when I'm moving. Up the top, if it gets to there, is around 38, 38, in fact. So yes, ANZ suggesting higher prices to come, and I'll just see what else here there is. This is part of the whole pattern, and what we can say is from here to the top to its breakout point just there, that was that target that we just did before. I'll just move one of them. Oops. Oh, I'm cloning it instead. That was silly. There it is there. So 36, 37, and after that 37, 38. So and the monthlies are saying there is room to move up. Okay. ANZ, CCL. Okay, monthly. Well, that's an interesting one too, actually. What we can see here, for those that like mare's tails, you can see there's a mare's tail again. All right, so it goes. Sorry. Not the best artistic drawing there, but that's a mare's tail to the downside. There really isn't much more I can say with that one, other than maybe we can draw a trend line. I'm not quite sure. Just have a look. No, I'll just delete that. I'll go to weekly. I think we can do a better job on the weekly. This is obviously a rising wedge, and as you can see, the rising wedge failed. If you were to target out of a rising wedge just for the sake of an educational lesson, from the top to the previous touch to its breakout point, which is just there, and that's its target out of a rising wedge. Met its target, and it's doing what it's doing at the moment. On the weekly, that actually looks like a head here, shoulder, shoulder, breakout. So there's its neckline. So basically, if I was to just draw it up a bit, where's my text tool? Text. So shoulder, I'll put an S, head, and shoulder. Okay. And also a symmetrical triangle. How do we target out of this? We go to the bottom, directly above to the neckline, across to its breakout, and that's where the target is. I'll just erase. Target. And of course, there's also the symmetrical triangle that tells you high prices. It's retesting the neckline, which is really good. That is a positive sign. I would then be looking for a reversal to the upside from here. That's the way you should be looking at it next. If we were looking at also, is there any chain lines? You go from here, and they have broken, as you can see, to the upside. If we clone it, see if there's anything here. Basically, that's what that is there. And there's your reversal of the trend line also. Okay, so that's broken on the upside, retesting the neckline, showing higher prices to go. Let's have a look at the daily. Daily. Again, we can see a symmetrical triangle, hit its first target. Let's have a look at the next target up. We obviously have to have a look where we can actually look at a new entry point, but that's this next target up to that level. Now, what we expect we will see is a consolidation phase of some form before we start looking at an up move again. Now, one thing that's interesting is we can see a gap here. Can you see the gap in the screen? Now, if we draw this here and this from there, I can say from experience the market always comes and closes its gaps. So I would say this is where we're looking at the next move up. That's what we will be looking at. And what I would expect to see is that once it consolidates and starts making its merry way up, and then we'll have a new trend line, an accelerated trend line to the upside. Coca-Cola Amatil. Okay. We'll do CBA again. I've got it on the other list. CBA. Now, looking at the monthly, I said 2 weeks ago when we were still in January, this was a rising wedge and generally a lot of more potential downside. Hence, we got targets on both sides. I said if it breaks and closes above there, at the end of the month, then I would be satisfied that I would look at this target next, not down there. I can remove that. As you can see, January closed above that, and a new one started and it's continuing, so I can remove the bottom target. I don't believe it's going to come back down there anytime soon. And if anything, now you can actually use this target from here, and I think it will be the same point, and there's your same target as before. And there. So basically, we're looking at the next target of $99 to $101 for Commonwealth Bank on a monthly, and as I said, we can remove this one because it has broken on the upside. On the weekly, if you remember, we said that was on the weekly we said that was a bullish flag. I was happy to trade it to the upside. I would be very cautious here. If I see it struggling to fail, I'll take a smaller profit and walk away. If I see it holding on and looking to break through, I'll keep holding it for this target at the time. We do have a higher target now. We go to a daily, and that's what we saw. And as we can see here, basically there was a consolidation phase, there was a down target to the consolidation phase, and sure enough, it held that and continued to go up. And as it broke on the upside, we saw the upside target, and because it broke to the upside, what you can do now is go from here to there to its breakout point, which is just there, and that was its target up. So we were looking at, to confirm our weekly targets and so forth, that's what we're looking at. Now, looking at the right edge of the screen, what do we got? Clone that. Where's my clone tool? Oh, wrong one, sorry. I just got the damn wrong one. There, do it again. Clone tool. Okay, that's where we are. Is this going to be a flag? I have absolutely no idea. However, what I can say is watch it tomorrow. If it closes back above the night where it is, inside that little flag, and then maintains it and then breaks on the upside, then we have a potential upside. But if it breaks down below it, well, kiss it goodbye, basically, and look for another opportunity. What it might do, it might come back and just consolidate above this line here and come up with another pattern before it goes its merry way up. I don't know. At the moment, the way it stands, that's how it's looking, at least for now. What we'll have to do is then reevaluate it and see if it goes below this, then we'll have to reevaluate it. But the weekly target is higher prices to come. So that's how we have to consider it, higher prices to come. Okay, just one sec. Okay. Next one. We have, that was CBA, MFG. MFG, which one's that one again? Okay, oh, we did that one last time too. Okay, monthly first. As we did the targets last couple of weeks, I think we did this maybe three times in a row now actually. As we can see, it's within its target range, but it can go a bit higher. There is no other target on the monthly other than that at this point of time. Actually, I wonder if I can do this at the moment. Let me just try something. From here. Nah, too low anyway. Wishful thinking then, I think. It won't give me anything else actually. Oh, no, of course not. Must have been blinded here. Have a look at this. God. It's amazing actually. I just noticed it now, of all things. I never saw. Where's my text tool? Text. What we got here is shoulder. At the bottom here is the head and shoulder here. Head and shoulder. And if we go from there straight up to the neckline, right across to the breakout. It's already hit the target. Bit late, but anyway, I'll just remove that. It's already hit the target. So, and is there much? There's one more higher target because that makes it a symmetrical triangle, and that goes from here to the top to the breakout, and they're around the same price. They're not worth even worrying about it. So there was a head and shoulders there with a symmetrical triangle. These targets are out of this pattern here, suggesting we are within the price target. However, there might be a bit more to go, and if we have a look at in fact, I'll go straight to the, because the weekly shows pretty much the same. If we go to the daily, if we have a look right here, right on the edge of the screen, we clone this. It has broken up, it has gone past the resistance point. It's in blue sky here. So basically, really what we're saying is next target for this is 22, 23 bucks. Another couple of bucks from here. So whoever's got it, good luck to you. That was MFG. What do we got next one? RDM. RDM. What's RDM? Oh. Okay. This is progressing nicely also, monthly. God, that's broken below. Ooh, that's not very good, is it? Well, I wouldn't want to be keeping this. I'd be going from here to there to there. You're looking at 26, 24 cents on a monthly. On a weekly, sorry, 2.4 cents that would be there. Am I mistaken? You know, look at that one again. Monthly. Sorry, I thought it was in the 20 cents. Actually, it'll be down to 2.4 cents, 2.6 cents. I think the last targets we did is the next level is at 50, the 5.5 cents to 5 cents. And off the monthly now that it, excuse me, it's broken below, basically that's what we're expecting. In fact, just to reaffirm all that, this is what we're looking at. From there to there, it's got all the appropriate touches. And from here down to there to its breakout point, and that's what we said, even down to 2 cents, below 2 cents. So I wouldn't want to be holding this, whoever owns that one. I don't think the daily can give us that much. It's a penny dreadful, folks. What can I say? Next, I'll do IPL and I'll do some currencies after that. And okay, we're doing okay. I'm going to try to finish, give everybody about 90 minutes with analysis. I put it on approximately 10 minutes earlier than the 1 hour 30-minute countdown because I had that disclaimer up. So I'll try to do that. Now, on the monthly, on IPL, pretty much as we said last time, look, it's consolidation phase. Targets up. Look, it's just touched the targeting now on the first point. We go down to the weekly. Here they are there, and we've got multiple targets going all the way up. We even had a pennant saying higher prices to come. Sorry, I think it might have just screen just switched over then. So these are the targets on the upside. As we did, nothing has changed. So we do have higher prices to come. So anyone's looking at that, I'd still be holding in the long position. If you're not in that, I'd be looking for a new entry point, and let's see if there's one on the daily. It appears the daily is getting ready to make a entry point for us. I'll just extend it. As we can see, like so, like so. This is a pennant. Obviously, if it breaks to the upside, then we got an up move. And in fact, if it breaks to the upside, this is its bottom of its flag. I'll actually take it conservatively from there, and I'll go to the bodies only. As it gets to my prices, I'll be looking at, again, maybe being more aggressive after that. As we can see from here, if once it breaks up above that, the weekly is suggesting that it will. I hope this is from where it does it. Again, this is a potential pennant. It's only a potential because he hasn't broken on the upside. If it breaks on the upside, then it's factual, and then we can say that's how we're looking at it. Next target up on this is around the $4.40 to $4.47 or so mark, and it's currently around the $3.70 something. So potentially, not a bad move coming. That's IPL. Now, I'll do the Aussie dollar, the euro, and British pound. I'll go down to 30 minutes on this as I do the analysis. I'll do the Aussie dollar first. AUD equals. Oh, I've just been asked a question. Someone's put their hand up. Just 1 second. Let me find out what this is. I apologise. I haven't looked at it very often. Kingsley Harris. Kingsley, your mic is on. You want to ask the question? Hello, Kingsley. No? Maybe he's put it on by accident. Okay. I'll turn the mic off. Sorry about that. Yes, he did put his hand down. I think it might have been a question much earlier, so I apologise, Kingsley, if you wanted to ask an earlier question. Okay, on the Aussie dollar, monthly, let's have a look. Now, what have we got? It hit its target, okay, came down on the monthly, hit its target, it went below, and it went down to, the target was actually down to 75.93, I think from memory it is. It came down between the target, as we can see, between 77.20 to 77.59. So there's nothing more this can give us. That's basically the target. It's actually above a major support area anyway. So there really isn't much other than consolidation, and all we can do is maybe try to find additional support areas by, drawing strong lines and saying, is there one there? Is there one lower? When is the next point if it breaks through here? There really isn't anything else on the monthly unless we start searching it carefully, and we might find, but they're a fair way down if it goes down from here. Let's have a look at the weekly, if the weekly gives us more. Now, all I've done here is, that was my line, and all I've done is I cloned this line and seen where a potential support line could be. And yes, it went down to that support line and stopped there on its tracks. The target was below this line, and if I was concerned, I would have taken my money when it was basically around this level here. Okay, we had a bearish flag here. Would have been a fantastic trade to the downside because we saw it break. I think at one point we saw it not 2 weeks ago, about 2 weeks before that I ran one. Basically, we actually saw that break as we were actually talking about it. I think we might have seen something on an intraday basis the last fortnight too. But to me, this is a consolidation phase. It can go a bit lower, but it is right on the line here. Now, is there any reason why it should do any more there than anywhere else? Absolutely not. Anything can happen here. If it does consolidate and goes up, at least a bit of a bounce to the upside, we can then actually maybe put in a broadening formation. We can't really do that. Just to give an example, if we try to take this line and maybe try to put it on top and trying to sandwich it down as an example, if we do that, we're talking a lot lower. So there really isn't anywhere else we can actually put anything at the moment, okay? So unless this is what it's meant to go, time will tell. So all we've done is, like I said, taken a clone of this line and I extended it. Sorry, where was I again? Oh, this line down here. I went to about there, and it should be a bit lower than that, but let me just extend it. And it was down to there. That's what I had before. So potentially that's where there's a support area. How long it's going to hold? Is it going to hold well? I have no idea yet. Time will tell. But I would be looking to trade this on a very short-term basis, not a weekly. What these weekly lines are good is when there has like flags or pennants or major support lines potentially like that to let us know a potential brick wall is there, and we should really be very, very careful. Going to, excuse me, to a daily basis now. And again, draw a downtrend line on the top of the highs, clone it, and this is where it comes down to where this actually has stopped. Okay, that's where it stopped. Now, we can see it came in and touched the target and then went back up. Now, this is a daily, and realistically, we can clone that. And it has broken below, as we can see, and it really is a bearish flag. That's the truth of the matter, okay? Is it going to fully work, or is it just going to stop at its previous low here? Time will tell again. However, we have to do a target regardless. And it's telling us lower prices to go. If it manages to break through this, first of all, previous low, let me just draw it there. It's got to go below that. Then it's got this brick wall here, because now it's got one touch, two touches, a third time it came below and came back above it, and we'll see what happens now for a third or fourth here. So the Aussie dollar, the best it can do is consolidate, and if I had to give it a 50-50 basis, potentially lower prices to come again, which I personally thought initially might hold a bit higher, but I keep saying is you can have a view. Fantastic, but trade what you see. I had a view that I honestly felt that it was going to hold around 79.4 to 84 a while. I was wrong. Trade what I see, not what I think. That's how you have to trade it. Now, I will go down to 60 minutes on an intraday basis, and let's have a look here. In fact, that's what we were looking at when we were doing this webinar, whoever it was a couple of weeks ago. This is what we were looking at, and this is what happened while the webinar was on. Again, we are here now, and let's have a look what we can do. Shall I just put it there for a minute and realign this so we can see it better? Yeah. Okay, that's pretty much what we got on a 60-minute basis. Even if I convert this to 30, it'd still be the same. Let's have a look if there is anything else on a 60 here. Clone that. That's not bad, is it? Now, this is live, so is it going to break down? I have no idea. I don't care. If it breaks on the upside, it might actually go and hit this brick wall up here and then start looking what do we do next. It definitely broke below this point here. And we can see there was that particular point. And I think the best we could have done is from here, actually. And that's where we got anyway, their actual price. So I'll just get rid of that. So it met its target, which is fine, it's good. What we're looking at is for our next trade. If it breaks, you have to look at it. It has been down this low before, remember. So if it's going to bounce, it's going to bounce around here. So you've got to ask yourself, if it breaks below, is this good enough for a trade? If it is, take it. It might break and go lower. If it isn't, leave it alone. Let's go down to 60 minutes. Actually, let me just one more thing before we do that. The data seems to be all on one side. If this high was somewhere here, I'd be happier, to be honest. So I really don't want to do any more than that on that basis. I'll go down to 30 minutes. It's pretty much where we're looking at before. The 30-minute really doesn't give us any more than what the 60-minute does. In fact, if anything, I think the 60-minute is probably a better looking chart than the 30. Same thing as before. I just need to like so. So it really is the same. There's no more additional data that this can add to make better decisions. So I'd leave it at that. Back to daily, and we'll go to the next one. And the next one is EUR. EUR equals okay. Just one sec. Sorry. Sorry, I'm just looking at some questions here at the moment. Now, someone's asked me, can I actually show the Inquisitor? What I'm going to do, I won't do the Inquisitor today because I've got a finite time to go through. But what I will do is, if you guys can, or ladies also, you want to see anything specifically, if you can, you got a question, just send me an email to webinars@phoenixai.com.au, like the Inquisitor and so forth, and I'll do a short webinar and I'll record it and I'll put it up so you can watch it over and over again. So, but give me more than one item to do. So if you want to do that, I'll be more than happy to do that. There is a couple other questions in there now, but what I'll do is I'll finish off what I'm doing, see how we go with time. If there's enough time, I'll do some of the others I've asked also. Let's do EUR at the moment. Monthly, pretty straightforward, lower prices to go. You can't do any more than what it is on the monthly. Weekly, exactly the same thing also. All right, there really is nothing else you can do. These are the targets off those as we've done them before. We'll go straight to daily on Euro. And we're looking at the daily, we're saying, is there anything that shows us there is more prices to go down? Let's have a look. We have a bearish flag. How many candles are in there? For people that don't remember, how many candles as a minimum do we need for a flag? There's 10 candles in this one. For a minimum, we need 3 candles. On a weekly, we can go as low as 2 for weekly and monthly. But for daily and intraday, we need a minimum of 3, maximum of 13 inside the flag or the pennant. Okay? And a flag or a pennant is only as good as it looks. Okay? If a flag doesn't look good enough or a pennant, don't use it. Usually fails. Okay? And we're looking at this one here. Potentially means where's the pole of a flag? You need a pole. What is the ratio? If this is the bottom of the pole, is this the top of the pole? Well, this is an upside down. This is the pole, and there's your flag upside down. Well, the difference between there, this can be, sorry, where we got that one. The widest or the biggest can be 60% to 40%. If it's 30%, it's useless. Okay? So that's how you've got to look at it. A maximum 60-40 or minimum of 10% of the pole, the flag. So it can only be from top of the flag to the bottom of the flag, even though this is upside down. Then the smallest it can be is 10% off the pole, and the maximum it can be is 60% of the pole. If we have a look at that, I think this is less than 40%, so it's not the best. Where's the next part of the pole? It can be here. Because remember, and here, it can be there. Now that looks more proportionally correct. If this flag fails, where would it fail? About here, where it's been, anywhere in this range. So if we're to do a target to the downside, we'd go from here to the bottom of the pole to its breakout point is there, and that is target down. Okay. Now let's go to intraday. What we see here is consolidation, a lot of consolidation. So realistically, you're trading intraday, that's what you should be looking at. A lot of consolidation there, huge amount of consolidation. Personally, if I was to look for a downside or an upside, I'd be looking to break out of this consolidation area. If it breaks to the upside, it's from the bottom to the top to estimate a breakout. If it breaks to the bottom of the consolidation phase to the buy side. Which way is it going to break? Your guess is as good as mine. I don't care which way it breaks. Again, I trade what I see, not what I think. So what we've got on a daily, potentially, if it breaks, will go to the downside. However, on an intraday basis, if it just stays and consolidates and goes sideways, it can go either way. So what we've got to do is only trade what we see, and if this breaks on the upside, it's an up move, breaks on the downside, it's a down move. Okay, and that was 30 minutes, by the way, so the 60 minutes really ain't going to be any difference if you have a look. Okay. Let's put the consolidation phase again. Look, it'll be exactly the same thing. We've got the touches here, touches there. It's exactly the same thing. So safest trade is the best way. So I'd be watching this, and if you can trade it in here in a shorter pattern, if there's a bearish or bullish flag on an intraday basis, fantastic. But there's nothing there at the moment. In fact, if anything, what we saw just here, potentially this was, if this broke to the downside, we could have had a down target to there, but it didn't. It went back up. So much for that idea. Now, the next one, of the last of the currencies I'll do is GBP, the British pound. On the monthly, as we can see on the monthly, it's showing lower prices to go. On the weekly, we have already hit targets and obviously bouncing off the targets. I won't bother going into the monthly. We can see clearly that's my target. There is nothing else I can do with it. Let's have a look on the weekly. We can see on the weekly it really came, that one target, pretty close to the second. It literally came into the consolidation phase also. Is it going to do anything more here? Let's have a look. Is there potential pattern here? Clone. This could be a bearish flag. All right? We don't know yet, but if it is, we obviously got a down target further to go. I'll do the down target and I'll remove it because it hasn't broken yet. It'll be from here to an estimate. You can see pretty much what the monthly is showing, lower prices to come, if that is a bearish flag. We don't know yet if it is a bearish flag, so we'll just remove it. And let's see what unfolds. I will leave that as it is and further go from there. Now, we've really been going on for about an hour and 20 or so minutes, 22 minutes. There's a couple of requests that came in on a couple of shares, and that's AIO and CSR. I'm happy to do those as we've got just a little bit more time left, and we'll go from there. Okay, AIO. Now, so that's been trading since July 2007. A lot of consolidation. Let's have a look. Let's try just cloning that and see what we get. And an accelerated trend a little bit there. Oof, I should have turned the mic off. I apologise for that. Okay. Monthly doesn't give me any more than that, actually. Let's go to weekly. There. It's almost like a rising wedge, isn't it? However, we do have a little pattern here. Probably consolidating there. I'll see it better on the daily there. And suggesting higher price, I think, at this point. In fact, probably from, let's say from here. Oh, it's actually right on that. And of course, we would have had that. And we can see that's a retest. That's where it'll fit. Now, if you've already got it, I wouldn't be selling out at this point of time. Let's have a look a bit further. We can clone that. And we do have a bit of a flag. We also have a symmetrical triangle, but we've got a second symmetrical triangle. As we can see, it's amazing how these work, don't they? They just come and just hit those brick walls, and guess what? They stop again. They hit there, stop again. What we can do is, first of all, out of this flag, from here to the top, to its breakout point, and told us pretty much where the resistance is. Out of this pattern, it's telling us higher prices to go, and even higher again. Okay, now these are the targets for AIO. It has broken above. Okay, it is come to its first brick wall. However, if I'm in this, I'd hold it. If I'm not in this, I would look to break above this, or an additional maybe flag here for a higher price, and then try to get in before it breaks through. Like I said, I've got to pass this point here to actually say these prices will happen. These are the last of the brick walls. If we look at the basically weekly, I'll just enlarge this for a second. We can see even from here, it's broken through the major point. Okay, it's above it. Now, it hasn't closed above it because we're still in February, so let's hope it does hold that. It doesn't come back down. But at the same time, if it closes above my daily, above here, there's $6.30 or so mark, then I have to say we do have higher prices to come. So that's how I would treat that. If you're in, stay in. If not, once it breaks, you go in. Again, not personal advice. The next one, I've got CSR. Actually, what's this? XHJ2. So let's see where we go. CSR. Did I do CSR before? No, I didn't. CSR. CSR, first on a monthly. And what we can see, oops, clone that. I find it hard to believe that's going to give me a target like this, but it's saying a tremendous target. You'll be going down to probably here. I'll go to the body, to its breakout point. That gives you a $7 to $7.50, $7.11, $7.50 target. But what you have to watch realistically is you've got a major resistance here, major resistance there, and a major resistance there. So it's got to go through these obstacles to get there, so I'd watch it very closely. Going to a daily chart, oh, that was a monthly. Going to a weekly chart, again, what we can do, it's a straight one, isn't it? Straight, no, it's trend line. You can see that becomes its support, that was its resistance. And again, I wouldn't treat it as a flag. I don't think it's that good. Too close to the poles. But we can say from here to here, first target, which it hit. We can go all the way to here, at least to 449, as you can see. So it's saying higher prices to come on a trend line basis. Let's see if we've got anything now. Higher highs, higher lows, beautiful. Clone it. There's your channel. So, you know, that $7 mightn't look so bad after all, but certainly when you look at the $5.80 mark, potentially, based on what we had before, looking very promising on the monthly, means that higher prices, we did off that as a flag. You can go up to 13 bars. So certainly when you look at this at 450, and we're looking at these ones at the $5 mark, which is your resistance, looking pretty good. Go to the daily. I don't have any flag to get in at the moment, unfortunately, but let's see what transpires here. There's nothing much on a daily, so I wouldn't be chasing it myself. That's pretty much what it is from that. And that's this bit. There's a broad information. Not the best broad information either, actually. No, I can't use that, actually. Not very good. That's all I can actually do at the moment. There's nothing. No, that's higher than that, so I can't really do anything there. Nothing more on the daily. That's all I've got on that. Next one, that was CSR. There's one more was asked to do XHI. What that is, I have no idea. XHI. Whoever gave me that one, oh, is it XHJ? Sorry, XHJ. XHJ, enter. Oh, that's what I did before. Sorry. Someone just asked the question. Hold on 1 second, or got their hand up. Okay, Rosalind, you want to ask a question? No, I can't hear Rosalind. No. Hello. Rosalind, can you hear me? Hello, Rosalind.
Have you got time to do? Yes. Have you got time? Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. Have you got time to do Rio Tinto?
I'll do Rio Tinto and it'll be the last one. How's that?
Thank you. Thank you.
No worries at all. Okay, Rio Tinto I'll do as the last one. Okay, monthly. Haven't looked at this one for quite a while. Realistically, you can only utilize from here, even though that's a major resistance area, but you'd only utilize it as a pattern from here. Okay, so even though it goes to that, that's all you'd be doing as a pattern. Now, we are inside this pattern. So we are between support and resistance, somewhere in between. Where's it going to go? Let's have a look. The monthly can't tell us that. All it's telling us is inside, nowhere else. So let's have a look at the weekly. And use a trend, I think, from here. Again, we really don't have much again other than inside this pattern again. We go to daily, maybe we can zoom into this area here. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at this. So on a daily basis, in fact, you can only, even though that's your resistance point, all you can really do it as a pattern is take it from a lower point, realistically. You can probably take it from there. I'll just go from there and raise the other one to get it there. Okay, so that's what you're looking at. And if we look at where we are at this point, is that. Now, it has broken above this symmetrical triangle, so let's get the targets that it can give us through that. From here to there to its breakout point, saying $64, $65. Let's go to the extreme side, and we go up to $69. If this is a pennant, and again, a pennant is good as it looks, and if it breaks through here, it looks pretty good. Okay, here's the pole, to the top of the pole, and again, I can only estimate the breakout, and it will tell us at $66 to $67. So remember, this has not broken out yet, and it is only as good as it looks. It looks good as long as it breaks out, and that will tell us $67, and we have multiple targets from 64, 65 if it breaks out of this pattern all the way to $69. So that pretty much covers what we can do today. We're sort of gone to an hour and 45 minutes, so really an hour 35 minutes. I wanted to do about no more than 90 minutes. So I hope everybody got some value out of this. If you have any questions, please just send it to webinars@Phoenix.ai. We'd be more than happy to try to do them on the webinar, other webinars. I'm planning to run it roughly every couple of weeks. I'm saying every 2 weeks. It might vary occasionally, but every 2 weeks. I've been asked to do a few webinars in the training of the Phoenix, which I think it's a great idea. The feedback that I'm looking at is, what do you want me to cover? Now, the goal is obviously, once I know what you guys want me to cover, I'll put those on the thing and people can watch them at their leisure. But I really need to do that. So please let me know, and that's at webinars@phoenixi.com.au. I'd like again to thank everybody for tuning in. Getting used to talking to myself here. So if you can ask some additional questions in the future, it'll be fantastic. It becomes more interactive for me. So thank you so much. Have a great evening, and look forward to chatting with you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.